Hey everyone, my name is Ellen.
And my name's Alyssa. Welcome back to the Modern Singer Podcast. We have talked all about how to network with summer programs and other companies once you're cast. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out episode 35, where we talk about that a lot. But how do you start connecting when you're not in school or a program with these connections that are already built in for you?
This is a really good question because I don't think that people realize how different and hard it is once you leave school. One thing you can do is taking people's dance classes for like choreographers and directors. Start getting your face out there so that you know who's sitting behind that table and get to know their specific styles and what they're looking for when they're casting. I mean, we do this all the time in the opera world, right? And you want to know the general directors, you want to know the music director, you want to know what kind of rep that company does. So why wouldn't you do it everywhere else that you're auditioning?
Start taking acting classes in person or online to start to grow not only your wealth of knowledge from reputable directors and coaches, but these people can also become a part of your core team that you turn to for advice and even recommendations in your career. There are so many people that I have taken class from that turned into my mentor, into someone who takes the extra time to notice me when I'm taking class, to help me build my skill set, that I can also look to as someone who can recommend me for a job, as someone who says, hey, I just heard about this, have you applied? It is so important. It's such an integral part of networking. It's kind of the unspoken thing of the music world in general, is how you get in the room. It's not always what you can do, it's who you know.
That's another good reason to take master classes with conductors, directors, and casting directors, to get some one-on-one feedback from the people behind the table and to find something that may help you stand out in the long audition days. You get to know their styles, you get to know what they're looking for, you get to know the kind of nuances that they would add, in this piece, and you can bring it to the table and then they're like, wow, she actually listened to me, or wow, that stood out and that's different. But also, like Alyssa just said, you get to know these people. They'll remember you. They'll think about you. If there's somebody who got sick or dropped out from something and they went to one of these conductors or directors that you coached with, maybe they'll drop your name. Some of these people put on their own shows and may call you. Some of these people create their own music and maybe they'll call you. It's absolutely 100% just an amazing way to make connections. But then also, break out of your own coachings and voice lessons and get some advice from other people out in the world. Now, if you don't live in a place like I live in Arizona, if you don't live in a place where there's access to people who are conducting and directing in the types of shows that you're wanting to get into, or, maybe there's not a lot of musical theater in your area, you can do virtual coachings with these people. Or when you're in, New York, Chicago, wherever auditioning, try to set aside some time, or maybe actually add a couple days to your trip to have some time set aside with these conductors, directors, and casting directors, because it's absolutely essential to networking these days.
Start looking out for networking events held by organizations like Opera America or your local opera company, or even the community theaters in your area. They are usually designed to bring creatives of all kinds together. Now, sometimes they're free, sometimes there is an entrance fee, so do take that into account. But they are wonderful places to meet new and past colleagues, as well as exchanging information to help everyone grow in their knowledge. I know I've gone to I think my favorite one that I went to last year was I went to Her First 100K, the Financial Feminist book launch in New York, and I got to go to that. I met some really cool people. I met some photographers that I actually kept in touch with, and we're working on some photo shoot stuff, which is fun. I met some other really great people, and just like people I wouldn't bump into in a normal day that I learned something from, and it was really fun for me to just do.
You could also put together cabarets with your friends to perform for larger audiences, and you can even invite other professionals, including casting, managers, agents, choreographers. If you're like me and work in admin work, you can invite, the general director of the company you work for, or the music director, or something like that. This is a great way for them to see you in action instead of just you on busy audition days or in a video or audio recording. And it's also a really great way not only to network, you can, hit up your friends, you can hit up other professionals in the area that you haven't worked with, but It's a great way to add some new rep to your resume as well. So it's kind of a win-win, right?
And you can video record it and post it on your website, on your socials, and then you've got
Absolutely.
new audition videos too. Go for it. Go nuts.
Win-win, win-win.
Start subscribing to industry email newsletters. We have our own. It's the Modern Singer newsletter. We love putting it out every month, most months. But there are other newsletters as well. You can get them from Playbill, from Broadway World, from Opera America, from companies that you work with. But you want to make sure that you're staying informed on what's going on in the performance world, what's happening, who's doing what. All of the season announcements come out usually through their email newsletters. Oh gosh, what else? You can start to look at bigger trends that are happening in the music world as well. Like I know right now on Broadway, there's a lot of belting and skrelting and pop rock and all of that in the new music. So maybe I'm not working on my legit as much in this coming audition season and I'm working a little bit more on my belt. Or maybe you're seeing the trend in opera where literally everyone's doing Carmen and Don Giovanni for some unknown reason. And I'm over here asking for a comedy. That's all I want.
I know. After like 2020, we just need happiness.
But starting to look at the languages that people are doing and working on all of those as well.
Yeah.
There's always one show that everyone does across the country.
It really is. And I swear, I mean, I don't know. I swear it's not on purpose.
It's not. Do you remember that
like
one year when it was Cozy and everyone was really annoyed?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Arizona Opera also did Cozy that year.
Yep.
It's like
I think the Met
insanity.
even did Cozy that year.
Oh my God. It's hilarious. It happens all the time. I don't know. It might just be like the rotation and everybody's on the same rotation.
Probably.
In addition to subscribing to newsletters, set social media notifications for specific alerts from companies, directors, other artists that you're interested in working with or just interested in what they're doing or if what you can learn from them. You know, these can be people you look up to as mentors or a reference for your own career. Maybe you just like them for what their travel tips as singers and actors. You know, it's a really great way to stay up to date with directors or master classes that are going on and more. So if your inbox becomes a little bit cluttered, you know, you can kind of blend the inbox newsletters with social media alerts and really get also, you know, different types of media. Like we're not putting the same thing in our newsletters as we're putting on social media. And maybe in social media, you're getting more of that day-to-day life, those travel tips, how to eat out of a mini fridge or how to travel with your dog, or I mean, like anything like that. So it's a great way to stay in the know as well.
There's also a lot of companies, especially smaller companies, that are starting to post their casting calls on social media. So if there's a company that you know that you want to work with, that they have a season that you know you want to be a part of, add them to your notification list because they will be posting it on their social media as well. It's a great way to stay informed on what jobs to start looking out for and applying.
And like social media is, you know, every day, multiple times a day for a lot of people and companies. And newsletters are like, you know, once a quarter, once a month, a couple times a month. So you be more of the first batch of people to get that information.
I will say something else that I have noticed in feedback that I've heard throughout the past couple of months has been casting directors and companies noticing if you are or are not following them.
Absolutely.
If you get a live audition, just go follow them. You can unfollow them later if you don't
Absolutely.
want to. But like, they're checking.
They do. They absolutely
And as
check
someone
for
who
that.
ran the marketing department, they're checking.
Somebody who runs the marketing department now, we definitely check. So,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope that you have some fun new networking tricks that you can start to implement this year. Make sure that you rate, subscribe, and review to help us reach new followers. And if you really liked today's episode, you can post it on your social media and tag us. We would love to see what you think.
And don't forget to check out our show notes for all of our resources.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. That was a little voice crack. Am I okay? I don't know.
You got this.